Olesia had always been nervous around her husband's daughter, Katya. The girl was only 16, but she had a strong personality and a tendency to rebel against authority. When her husband told her that Katya would be moving in with them, Olesia felt a knot form in her stomach. Growing up, Olesia had never felt entirely comfortable around children. She had been an only child herself, and her parents had been strict and distant. She had never learned how to connect with kids, and the thought of having a teenage girl in her house filled her with anxiety. But Olesia's fears turned out to be unfounded. From the moment Katya arrived, she was polite and well-behaved. She helped with the cooking and cleaning, and she even offered to walk the dog. Olesia found herself warming to the girl, and she began to see her in a new light. Over the weeks and months that followed, Olesia and Katya grew closer. They started going for walks together, and Olesia began to open up about her childhood. To her surprise, Katya was a great listener, and she seemed genuinely interested in Olesia's life. As time went on, Olesia found herself looking forward to spending time with Katya. She realized that the girl had become like a daughter to her, and she couldn't imagine her life without her. One day, as Olesia and Katya were sitting in the garden, Katya turned to her and said, "You know, Olesia, I never had a mother growing up, but if I did, I would want her to be just like you." Olesia was overcome with emotion. She had never expected to hear those words, and they meant more to her than Katya could ever know. From that moment on, Olesia knew that she would always have a special place in her heart for her husband's daughter. After the initial shock of discovering her husband's daughter was moving in with them, Olesia realized that she had to do her best to make the situation work. She knew it was important for her husband to have a relationship with his daughter, and she didn't want to be the one standing in the way of that. As the days went by, Olesia began to see a different side of the young woman. She was smart, kind-hearted, and had a great sense of humor. They started to spend time together, chatting over breakfast and watching movies in the evening. Olesia even found herself confiding in the girl, telling her things she'd never told anyone before. Despite their initial differences, Olesia found that she and her stepdaughter had a lot in common. They both loved to cook, read books, and go for walks in the park. They even started going on weekend trips together, exploring new places, and creating memories they'd never forget. Over time, the young woman started to open up to Olesia about her past, the struggles she'd faced, and the dreams she had for her future. Olesia was proud to be there to support her, offering advice and encouragement whenever she needed it. One day, as they sat on the couch, sipping tea and watching the rainfall outside, Olesia realized that her stepdaughter had become one of her closest friends. She couldn't believe that she had ever been scared or worried about her moving in. Looking back on those early days, Olesia laughed at how foolish she had been. She was grateful for the opportunity to get to know her stepdaughter, and to see the world through her eyes. She was even more grateful for the unexpected friendship that had blossomed between them. At first, Olesia was apprehensive about having her husband's daughter move in with them. She was unsure how they would get along and worried about the potential impact on their relationship. But as time passed, Olesia found herself growing more and more attached to the teenager. It wasn't long before Olesia and the girl were spending time together, talking about everything from school to boys. Olesia listened to her problems and offered advice, becoming a trusted confidant. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. She even began to feel a sense of pride in the girl's accomplishments, attending her sporting events and school performances. But the unexpected twist came when Olesia's husband suddenly passed away. The girl, who had once been a source of tension in their relationship, became a lifeline for Olesia. She was there for her during the grieving process, providing comfort and support when she needed it most. Olesia realized that the girl was not just her husband's daughter, but her own as well. They had formed a strong bond that transcended their initial differences. The two of them continued to live together, taking care of each other and building a new family of their own. In the end, Olesia couldn't imagine her life without the girl who had once been a source of fear and uncertainty. She was grateful for the unexpected turn of events that brought them together and brought so much love and joy into her life. Olesia felt a sense of relief as she saw her stepdaughter smile and nod in agreement. She had been worried about the girl's reaction to the news, but it seemed like everything was going to be okay. Over the next few weeks, Olesia and her stepdaughter got to know each other better. The girl, named Anna, was sweet and polite, and Olesia was surprised by how much she enjoyed spending time with her. As time went on, Anna and Olesia's relationship grew stronger. They would often cook dinner together and chat about their day. Olesia even found herself confiding in Anna about her own struggles and fears. But there was one thing that Olesia couldn't bring herself to talk to Anna about: her fears regarding Anna's biological mother. Olesia knew that her husband's ex-wife had been abusive to him, and that Anna had suffered as a result. One day, when Olesia was out running errands, she received a call from Anna. The girl was in tears, and Olesia could barely make out what she was saying. Eventually, Anna calmed down enough to explain what had happened. She had received a message from her biological mother, who was demanding to see her. Anna was terrified and didn't know what to do. Olesia immediately rushed home to comfort Anna. She held the girl in her arms and assured her that everything would be okay. She promised to protect Anna from anyone who wanted to hurt her. From that day forward, Olesia knew that she had found her true calling. She became a fierce advocate for her stepdaughter, always putting Anna's needs first. Years later, as Olesia watched Anna graduate from college, she couldn't help but feel proud. She had been terrified when Anna first moved in with them, but now she couldn't imagine her life without her stepdaughter. They had been through so much together, and Olesia was grateful for every moment they had shared. Olesia watched as her husband's daughter, Tanya, unpacked her bags and settled into the guest room. She couldn't help but feel a twinge of jealousy as she saw how close her husband and Tanya were. She knew that Tanya was the product of her husband's previous marriage, and had always feared that the girl would come between them. Over the next few weeks, Olesia tried to make an effort with Tanya, but it seemed that the girl had no interest in forming a relationship with her stepmother. Olesia felt like an outsider in her own home and began to resent Tanya's presence more and more. One day, as Olesia was cleaning the guest room, she stumbled upon Tanya's diary. At first, she tried to resist the temptation to read it, but her curiosity got the better of her. As she flipped through the pages, her heart sank. Tanya had written about how much she missed her mother, who had passed away a few years ago, and how hard it was for her to live with her father and his new wife. She also wrote about how much she wished she could have a closer relationship with Olesia, but didn't know how to make it happen. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Olesia's heart ached with guilt as she realized how much pain she had caused Tanya by pushing her away. She knew that she had to make things right. The next day, she took Tanya out for lunch and apologized for her behavior. She told Tanya that she wanted to be a real mother figure for her and would do everything she could to make their relationship work. Tanya's face lit up with a smile, and she hugged Olesia tightly. From that moment on, the two women grew closer and formed a bond that was unbreakable. Olesia realized that Tanya wasn't a threat to her marriage, but a beautiful addition to their family. She was grateful for the opportunity to get to know her husband's daughter and to share a loving relationship with her. But as time went on, Olesia started to see things differently. She saw how her husband's daughter had grown up to be a responsible and caring adult. She had a good job, paid her bills on time, and helped out around the house. Olesia even found herself confiding in her stepdaughter about personal issues, and they began to develop a close relationship. One day, Olesia's husband unexpectedly passed away. It was a devastating blow, and Olesia was left alone to pick up the pieces. But her stepdaughter was there for her, offering support and guidance during this difficult time. They spent countless hours talking about everything from their favorite memories of Olesia's husband to their hopes and dreams for the future. As time passed, Olesia began to realize just how much her stepdaughter had become a part of her life. She no longer saw her as an outsider, but as a beloved member of her family. And when her stepdaughter announced that she was pregnant, Olesia was overjoyed. She knew that her husband would have been thrilled to become a grandfather. When the baby was born, Olesia's heart swelled with love and pride. She knew that her husband's legacy would live on through his granddaughter. And as she held the tiny bundle in her arms, she knew that her husband would be proud of the family they had built together. Looking back on her initial fears and doubts about having her stepdaughter move in, Olesia realized that sometimes the things we're most afraid of can turn out to be the best things that ever happened to us. Over time, Olesia began to realize that having her husband's daughter living with them wasn't as terrifying as she initially thought. She saw how much her husband loved and cared for his daughter, and she began to empathize with her as well. They even started to bond over shared interests and experiences. One day, while the three of them were watching a movie together, Olesia's husband's daughter suddenly turned to her and said, "Thank you for accepting me into your home and treating me like family. It means the world to me." Olesia was taken aback by the sincerity in her words and felt a wave of emotion wash over her. She realized that she had misjudged the situation and that having her husband's daughter with them had brought them all closer together. From that day on, Olesia made a conscious effort to include her husband's daughter in their family activities and to make her feel welcome and loved. She knew that it wouldn't always be easy, but she was willing to try it because she had come to care for her as if she were her own daughter. Over the next few weeks, Olesia and Nadia began to bond over shared interests and experiences. They would spend their afternoons cooking together and watching their favorite TV shows. Nadia confided in Olesia about her struggles with her mother and how her father had always been her rock. Olesia listened and offered words of encouragement. Soon, Olesia found herself looking forward to spending time with Nadia. She began to see her as a daughter figure and started to care for her deeply. Olesia also noticed that her husband was starting to connect with his daughter again, and their relationship was getting stronger by the day. One evening, while Olesia was cooking dinner, Nadia walked into the kitchen and hugged her tightly. "Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me," Nadia said with tears in her eyes. "I never thought I could be this happy again." Olesia hugged her back, feeling overwhelmed with emotion. "You are always welcome here, Nadia," she said. "We are family now, and we will always be here for you." As they sat down for dinner that night, Olesia looked around the table and realized that she was surrounded by the people she loved the most. She felt grateful for this unexpected turn of events and knew that everything had happened for a reason. From that day on, Olesia made it her mission to be there for Nadia, to support her through whatever challenges came their way. And as they faced life's ups and downs together, they knew that they had each other to rely on. Olesia's heart swelled with pride as she watched her stepdaughter deliver her speech. It was a beautiful moment for her as she realized that the girl who had come to live with them so many years ago had blossomed into a confident and capable young woman. As the ceremony ended and the guests began to leave, Olesia made her way towards her stepdaughter, tears welling up in her eyes. "I am so proud of you," she said, embracing the young woman. The stepdaughter smiled and hugged her back. "Thank you, Mom. I couldn't have done it without you and Dad." It was then that Olesia realized that her fears had been unfounded. Having her stepdaughter move in with them had been one of the best things that had ever happened to her. Not only had she gained a daughter, but she had also played a part in raising a strong, independent young woman. As they walked out of the hall together, Olesia knew that she had a lot to be grateful for, and that she would always cherish the bond she had formed with her stepdaughter. After several weeks of living with Olesia and her husband, Natalia started to adapt to the new environment. She was polite and respectful towards Olesia, and they gradually developed a close relationship. Olesia was surprised to find that she actually enjoyed having Natalia around. One day, while having lunch together, Natalia asked Olesia if she could call her Mom. Olesia was taken aback, but felt her heart overflow with warmth and love. She nodded her head and smiled. "Of course, you can call me Mom." Natalia's face lit up with happiness, and she hugged Olesia tightly. From that day on, Natalia started to call Olesia Mom, and their bond grew stronger. Olesia and her husband were amazed at how quickly they had grown to love Natalia and how much joy she brought to their lives. As time went on, Natalia's biological mother got back on her feet and started to rebuild her life. Eventually, she asked to have Natalia back, and Olesia and her husband reluctantly agreed. The day Natalia left was bittersweet. Olesia knew that it was the right thing for Natalia to be reunited with her biological mother, but she couldn't help but feel a sense of loss. Years went by, and Olesia thought about Natalia often, wondering how she was doing. One day, Olesia received a letter from Natalia. She had become a successful businesswoman and wanted to thank Olesia for all that she had done for her. Olesia couldn't believe it. She was so proud of Natalia and the woman she had become. In the end, Olesia realized that sometimes the unexpected can lead to the most beautiful and meaningful moments in life. Natalia had come into their lives unexpectedly, but the love and joy she had brought with her had changed their lives forever. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel.